Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out, episode 247. Hope you're doing well today. Like many of you, I've been having a real hard time with this Texas school shooting last week. I mean, beyond heartbreaking, and not just innocent people, but little kids and some teachers too, of course. Look, I don't talk politics on this show or religion for that matter, and I don't know what the answer is. There's a lot smarter people than I that are hopefully putting their heads together over this, but I don't know. Background checks, cool-off periods, why someone not in the military needs AR-15s, a state that says you need to be 21 to drink, but 18 to buy AR-style rifles. I just don't get it. But look, I'm a techie, and I'm also torn on the role of big tech here. No, I don't expect social media sites to have Big Brother-like monitoring where, if someone writes something about shooting his grandmother or going to a school with that intention, that police would be automatically dispatched to the address of where the smartphone is. That's just not technically feasible. Billions of people on social media. So not something I can see happening. But at the same time, I wish tech could help here. Again, I don't know what the answer is. I also don't know why it took an hour for the authorities to get inside the school. That's a whole other thing, even though I think the damage can be done in seconds with a weapon like that. But anyhow, it didn't feel right starting this week's show without expressing my frustration and disgust, really, about more and more school shootings that we hear about almost on a daily basis, and that nothing will likely be done about it. Is this how far we've evolved as a society? Okay, we need to shift gears here. This is a show about tech, and I want to tell you who is on tap for this week's program. Coming up first is MediaValet and how they've been working with Dr. Jane Goodall's organization to preserve more than 60 years of primate studies. After that, tech expert Mario Armstrong shares some of his favorite gadget gift ideas for dads and grads. That's right, June is Father's Day, the 19th to be exact, and graduation season too. Also on the show, you probably play the game Wordle, but what about Lewdle? As in being lewd. It's for those, of course, with a dirty mind or a sailor's mouth, or maybe both. And finally, we'll be joined by Intel to learn all about its vPro platform for businesses. All of this and more on a brand new Tech It Out, powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. I'll tell you more about ASUS shortly, but let's officially kick off the show with our first interview. Listeners of this show and readers of my articles and books and such might not know that I went to school for psych, in fact, not technology. And I was just a credit or two short of minoring in anthropology, specifically fascinated by primatology. And I've followed Dr. Jane Goodall's conservation work for years, but how is all of that information collected over something like, say, 60 years going to be best preserved and analyzed going forward? Well, this is where a company like MediaValet comes in. Joining us to chat is David McLaren, CEO of MediaValet, and we're going to chat about their partnership with Jane Goodall Institute. Thanks for your time, David.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, sure. Now, before we talk about Dr. Jane Goodall, tell us about MediaValet and how you're the best, and I say this as an acronym, damn company. Maybe you can explain that. I love that on your website.
We actually like to be considered the best DAM team. And for those, DAM is digital asset management. So we help companies all over the world manage their digital assets. And those things would be like videos, photos, animations, graphics, everything from a billboard to a full-size, high-res movie that you would see at the theaters. All of those things get stored and managed within our software on the cloud.
All right. And the cloud, I think you've partnered with Microsoft to leverage their capabilities, which we'll get to momentarily. So that means that all of that data can be accessed by your clients, and I'm sure with very intuitive search capability, because again, with Dr. Jane Goodall, we're talking, 6 decades worth of collecting data. So no doubt you've got your work cut out for you. So talk to us about the GDI, or the Jane Goodall Institute.
So Jane Goodall is the Institute itself was founded many years ago to help preserve Jane's legacy and work with the scientific community to extend that research to help just human knowledge in general. This is where we come in because our mission as a company is to preserve, protect, and extend human knowledge. Now, we primarily do that with organizations today where we're helping them with their market material, their high value corporate assets. But overall, we're looking at human knowledge and human creativity. How do we preserve it, protect it, make it more discoverable? And by that, I mean searchable and accessible for future generations.
All right. Very cool. And I understand that you use AI, artificial intelligence, to help preserve Jane Goodall's legacy and helps those glean even new insights from her previous research. Can you elaborate a bit on the AI component?
Yeah, I can. And let me step back a little bit. The JGI, Jane Goodall Institute, reached out to us a couple years ago, and they were faced with this challenge of truly preserving Jane's legacy for all future generations. And what did that mean? So a lot of the research that Jane has been collecting since 1960 when she went to the Gobi National Park has been observational research, photos, videos, handwritten notes. And the videos were handheld videos as well as videos from camera trap. So camera trap videos are those you've seen maybe in some movies where they'll put a camera in a tree or on the ground. And when an animal walks past the video, their video camera, it turns on and captures that movement. So that's called camera trap video footage.
Yeah, it's like motion sensing.
Exactly. Yeah. So the Jane Goodall Institute has hundreds of terabytes of observational research that's been collected since Jane went to Gobi National Park in 1960. So they're digitizing that because some of it is still in physical format.
Right.
But those hundreds of terabytes of assets of research, it's across right now multiple offices around the world, multiple research camps or research institutes, centers, as well as camps, as well as universities. So the first thing that we came in to help JGI do was aggregate all that research, all that observational data into one central library on the cloud. And we're using Microsoft Azure, Microsoft's cloud platform, to do that. So aggregating it and then making it 6 times redundant. So 6 backup copies. Then from there, now that it's aggregated, organizing it and then using AI to make it discoverable. So from the AI standpoint, artificial intelligence, we're reaching into that data and using computers, artificial intelligence to identify Jane in all of the research material, visually, as well as audio, camera, photos, as well as videos, and using AI to identify spoken word, but also the objects that AI sees within photos and video.
Oh, that's so cool.
All that footage, but that's Jane. Then all the scientists, we're using facial recognition to identify them. We went a step further, and now we're looking at what else is in all that footage that we can use AI to recognize, and leveraging some previous work on facial recognition with chimpanzees. We leaned into that, and now we've developed that model for facial recognition in chimpanzees so we can recognize them, or AI can recognize them, in video footage as well as photos, reaching back 60 plus years now. And then in addition to that, Jane and her team have over 17 terabytes of handwritten notes, primarily in Swahili, that we used object character recognition, or OCR, it's an AI technology, to recognize those written notes in Swahili. And now it's all searchable in Swahili, over 800,000 individual notes. And we're translating that into over 32 languages. So you can search those notes in English, in French, in German. And this is the part of extending her research into the scientific community, making it more accessible, making it more searchable or discoverable.
And making it more universal.
Yeah, and helping grow human knowledge by all this research that's been collected. How can it benefit the rest of humanity in other research that we're doing?
And so I've been saying MediaValet, and you're saying MediaValet? Am I saying it wrong?
No, you're saying exactly right.
Azure.
Different. That's right.
To make tomato.
I get MediaValet a lot. That I correct.
We're chatting with David McLaren, CEO of MediaValet, or MediaValet. And we're talking about their work with the Jane Goodall Institute, the GDI, all about taking 6 decades worth of content, whether it's handwritten notes, video, audio, adding artificial intelligence to it, making it easily accessible. So not just aggregating it, but also translating it and making it searchable for future generations as well. Before we wrap up, what's been the biggest challenge, you would say? Is it just the vast amounts of data?
Yeah, it's uncovering the silos of data. That's the thing, in that when you've been collecting data, it doesn't matter the organization. When you're collecting data over decades, let alone just single years, there's silos of it that people aren't aware of. Photographers or videographers or creatives in one way or another have created assets on servers they've forgotten about or other people have forgotten about. It's finding those and then aggregating them into a central library on the cloud. That's the biggest challenge we find.
Even digitizing it sounds like it's a painstaking process if you're finding these like old Super 8s and stuff, like, film.
It is.
Yeah, right?
It is. We work with a lot of nonprofits around the world, and the first thing they'll focus on in getting the budgets to do kind of our piece of it. But one thing a lot of people forget about is the painstaking process, very manual process of digitizing assets.
Mm-hmm. Is there a website that we can learn more?
Yeah, you can go to MediaValet.com and just to find out more about MediaValet.
All right. Great to chat with you, David. Thanks so much for carving out some time to talk.
Thanks, Mark. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Part of me thinks I should go back to university to finish that minor in primatology. Love those primate videos on YouTube, though. When we return on Tech It Out, Mario Armstrong joins us with some gadget gift ideas for dads and grads. We'll be right back.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
You've heard me talk about the awesome Nexit navigation app, because not only does it help you get from point A to B quickly, on the road or on foot, but it will only recommend stops along the way. But Nexit doesn't just save you time, it saves you money too. It will show you where the cheapest gas is. You can also specify how much you want to spend, say on a hotel, like $150 a night or less, and you can load up your loyalty cards right within the app to get rewards. Download Nexit today for free from the App Store for iPhone and iPad.
This is your Tech It Out Minute with Mark Saltzman, brought to you by ASUS.
Attention laptop lovers. The ASUS VivoBook S14 has evolved. It's feather light. It's even more powerful than its predecessors. This Windows 10 laptop uses the latest Intel processors, Intel Xe graphics, and Wi-Fi 6 with ASUS Wi-Fi Master technology, so you can breeze through even your toughest days. With classy diamond-cut edges and a sleek all-metal chassis, the ASUS VivoBook S14 is all about the uniqueness of you. Open the lid and a color-blocked enter key puts you center stage. Passwords optional. Use your face or fingerprint to securely sign in to your Windows PC. VivoBook S14 lightens everything: your load, your tasks, your life, and brings out the very best in you. Visit asus.com for more on the VivoBook S14. And be sure to listen to Tech It Out on your favorite radio station or as a podcast.
That was your Tech It Out Minute, brought to you by ASUS. This is your Tech It Out Minute with Mark Saltzman.
You've heard me talk about the awesome Nexit navigation app on the Tech It Out show, because not only does it help you get from point A to B quickly, on the road or on foot, but it will only recommend stops along the way, like a gas station or a restaurant you want that's on your route, and not if it's behind you, even if it is a little closer, like other mapping apps might suggest that aren't intelligent enough to know that you don't want to turn around. But Nexit doesn't just save you time, it saves you money too. It will show you where the cheapest gas is. You can also specify how much you want to spend, say on a hotel, like $150 a night or less, and book it right from within the app, and you can load up your loyalty cards right within the app to get rewards. Download Nexit today for free from the App Store for iPhone or iPad. Do a search for Nexit, that's Nexit, or if you want to read more, head over to nexit.app in your web browser, that's nexit.app.
That was your Tech It Out Minute.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, and that includes its line of award-winning laptops and desktops, monitors, smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and much more. For those in search of incredible, visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. Hey, are you stuck on gift ideas for Father's Day or graduation season? Well, you're not alone. And no worries, as award-winning digital lifestyle expert Mario Armstrong is here with us to showcase some of the latest gadgets and coolest trends that top the list this year for both Dad's Day and graduation season. Hey, Mario, hope you're doing great. Good to chat with you.
I'm doing good, Mark. It's good to chat with you too, man. And it is that time of year. Dads and grads are out. So I partnered up with some great brands to kind of really help people come up with some good gift ideas.
Yeah, I've browsed the list of what you're going to chat about, and I'm excited about some of them in particular. Others I don't know much about. So with that in mind, why don't we dive in and start with a gift that helps you focus on your health?
That's great. Okay, so Halo View. It's really Amazon's latest health tracker. I'm actually wearing it on my wrist right now. It's got a vibrant color display on it, Mark, and it's really cool because you can see all the things that are important to you at a quick glance. Like, you know, my sleep score. I'm always looking to see how well did I rest last night. Blood oxygen level. You get notifications, live workout tracking. And then they have a 1-year membership with Halo View, and you can get access to personalized health insights, which really gets you like that personal information, exclusive things like the ability to measure your movement, your mobility. You also get access to premium content that's going to not only help you like move better, but also help give you tips and information for sleeping and eating better. I love the fact that they're covering that too. And it comes in a variety of different colors, so you don't have to worry about it matching your style. They got you covered there too.
If I'm not mistaken, the first Halo fitness tracker that Amazon came out with a couple of years back didn't have a screen, and people wanted it. So good to see that they've added that in. And for pricing and where to see these products in action, we'll plug a website later. Why don't we move on? I hear that there's a couple of ideas that you have for the dad or grad that loves entertainment.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff for entertainment, man. I love this next one, too. It's the Kodak Luma 350. I don't know if you had a chance to get your hands on this one yet, Mark, but it's this all-in-one portable cinema. And you know how portable projectors have been in the past. They haven't been that great. Some have done better than others. This really is fantastic, and it can fit really in your pocket to take with you anywhere. It's super lightweight, and through the projector app, you can view content at home or on the road, which is what I like about it. I think it's great for those family movie nights in the backyard. I think that's going to be awesome. Cookouts and parties. But you can also take it on the business side. It's going to be easy for you to carry this with you in your backpack, or if you're on to work to do those professional presentations. It's got Ultra HD. It's got built-in speakers, and you can use the remote, your phone as a remote for it, which is cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you play content on that little projector. And I love, by the way, that it fits dads and grads with being able to play movies in the backyard with your neighbors and friends, as well as in the boardroom. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, all you enterprising young kids out there, you can start charging, you know, popcorn costs $2.
Love it.
Well, you can play it right through the phone as a remote, which is really, really cool.
Oh, cool. Okay, great.
And also, we got the new Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie is out. So all you entertainment buffs are going to love this. It's out on digital, but that's not all. Sonic the Hedgehog fans, check out the limited edition collector set that includes the original film on 4K and Blu-ray, a digital code, a comic book, and poster cards. What's cool about this, Mark, is that the collectible set has all of these things. So if you're a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, you can't go wrong with this. You got to get them, though, at Amazon and Best Buy while supplies last. And one other thing to announce, too, the mega hit series of the show Yellowstone, the first 4 seasons. Now, this is the show starring Kevin Costner.
Love it.
It's also available on DVD and Blu-ray. Yeah, everyone loves that show.
Okay, cool. Going back to Sonic for a moment, my tip, budget permitting, is to buy 2. Open one and enjoy it and put the other one away.
Super smart.
Give it to your kids in 20 years to sell on eBay.
Oh, man. A time capsule. Just hold on to that. Yeah, you're right. No, that's good, smart. That's good thinking.
We are chatting with digital lifestyle expert Mario Armstrong, who joins us on this program from time to time to chat about some great gadget gift ideas, and today is no exception. What are some other recommendations that top your list?
Well, I got a great one that the ladies are going to love because, you know, it's just going to make everybody smell better. And so, ladies, you might want to check out getting your dad or grad the all-new Old Spice Gentleman's Blend lineup of body wash and deodorant. It's gentle on their skin. It features a revamped formula with supercharged odor fighters and moisturizers. And then on the entertainment side, if you want to upgrade Dad's TV with powerful streaming and premium sound, check out the Roku Stream Bar. You can add heart-pounding bass and submersive surround sound with their wireless subwoofer and speakers. And I like the controls that he has. He can automatically lower those loud commercials when they come on, or he can boost the volume of voices, use night listening if he doesn't want to wake up the house but still watch some TV. And Roku's user interface is easy to use, so Dad's going to find everything he needs, all his favorite movies or one of the free Roku originals, like the hilarious season 1 of Children Ruin Everything. I don't know if you've seen this one yet, but as a parent, that's a hilarious show.
I have. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Roku picked up the Quibi content and has a lot more as well. So they've got some really good originals for free, which is awesome. And I love that Stream Bar. As the name suggests, it's both a sound bar and a streaming solution. So you just connect it to any device and away you go. Love it. All right. Why don't we wrap up on where we can go for more info?
Yeah, 2 places. They can always go to the website where we got pricing and information there at techgifts.tv. And you can always reach out to me on Instagram at Mario Armstrong. Send me a question if you want to. I'd love to hear if you heard me on Mark's show.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mario. Always great to chat with you, man. Be well.
You too, Mark. Take care, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Do you like playing Wordle? Of course you do. Well, now there's Lewdle. If you want lewd words, for those with a dirty mind or a potty mouth or a bit of both, we're going to catch up with the creator, Gary Whitta, about Lewdle, a free online word game made by the same gentleman who co-wrote Star Wars Rogue One. How cool is that? Stay with us. More Tech It Out coming right up after this.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. Before we chat with Gary Whitta from Lewdle, it's no secret we cover cybersecurity a lot on this program and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not super tech savvy. And one part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past few years. How much, you ask? $9 billion. That's right, billion with a B. That is to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. That's visa.com/security. It's a real privilege to have back onto the show Gary Whitta, a man who wears many hats, including author, game designer, and former editor at PC Gamer magazine, whom I wrote for many moons ago, in fact. But Gary's probably best known as a screenwriter for several blockbuster films like The Book of Eli. He co-wrote After Earth with M. Night Shyamalan, and even co-wrote Star Wars Rogue One. His latest project is Lewdle, which is a racy spin on the word game sensation Wordle. Hi, Gary. Good to chat with you again.
Hi, good to be here.
Why don't we dive right in? Tell us about Lewdle, and for our listeners, it's spelled L-E-W-D, like lewd, L-E. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, nobody needs an introduction to Wordle at this point, right? It's basically kind of taken over the entire universe. Everyone's playing it. Everyone's obsessed with it. Our, Twitter feeds are all, kind of dominated by these kind of yellow and green grids that we see everywhere. And, I have a lot of admiration for Josh Wardle, who, created this from scratch in a very non-cynical way, just something for his girlfriend to play because they like word games during the pandemic. And it's just a great success story that it's gone on to be this huge thing. And now obviously it's part of the New York Times. It's just a really cool kind of Cinderella story. And, I've been enjoying the game, as have, people in my little friend circle and people at home in my family. My wife and my daughter, we all play it together, try to solve the word. And I don't know, I was talking to my friend Adam Nickerson, who I've done kind of various kind of fun projects with. We're kind of joking around with it and started talking about what a dirty Wordle version, what would that look like? Like, what if you could only use dirty words? Because that's kind of my level of humor. I, very, kind of very kind of childish, juvenile sense of humor. I think, when we're all kids, the very first thing that we do when we get our first dictionary is look up rude words. That's what I did with my first dictionary anyway.
Or when you learn another language, you always go to the dirty words first.
I thought it'd be, I like the idea, and I think this is actually kind of paid off, and it's why the game's been successful, is I like the idea of kind of combining kind of the very innocent intellectual exercise that is Wordle, right? Kind of just figuring out words, and you engage the same part of your brain as you would do with like a crossword puzzle or whatever, any kind of word game. Mm-hmm. But then also kind of combining that with engaging a very different side of your brain, which is, kind of the naughty side. And where I feel like that has come true is looking at people's tweets as they post their Wordle solutions. They always have a little comment like, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm filthy enough to have gotten this in two goes or whatever. Like, what does this say about me? Or I don't know if I should be impressed or ashamed that I know all these words. It's given people in a weird way an opportunity to kind of look inside themselves a little bit, maybe discover something about themselves that they didn't realize, in terms of like how prudish or how sheltered a life they may have led, or like how many words are surprising to them. I love it when people have to go Google a word because they don't know it, and they're like, oh my God, I wish I hadn't looked that up. That kind of thing is really fun.
You actually have an option to read the definition of the word through Urban Dictionary once you solve it, right?
Yeah, that happened because our second word, the very second word we ever did on day 2 was the word which I won't define for you, but if you want to go Google it, that's up to you. You may regret that you did, but it's one of the words in our dictionary.
Well, in an abundance of caution, I obviously bleeped out that word with a silly sound effect, but yeah. Let's just leave it at that. All right. So for those who haven't played Wordle yet, and I'm sure many of our listeners have, it's a free-to-play daily word game in which you have 6 tries to guess a 5-letter word. Then you can share your success on social media without giving away your answer. That's what you were alluding to, Gary, with all the yellow and green squares. So Lewdle is similar, but it's an NSFW word, a not safe for work word, possibly. Any tips that you have to mastering Lewdle other than having a dirty mind?
I mean, it's interesting. Some people have said they think it's easier than, the main Wordle game because there's a much smaller pool of words. I mean, like how many 5-letter words are there in the English language that Wordle is pulling from? I think they've got like, even after they filtered it down to words that they didn't think would be too difficult, I think they have like 2,500 words in their database. So, that game can run for years. Mm-hmm. We have actually, to our surprise, we have way more lewd words than we started with or thought we were going to get. As it turns out, there's actually quite a lot, some of which we've crowdsourced. Some people will tweet us and go, why isn't this word in there? Like, oh yeah, good catch. And we'll add it. We add new words to the dictionary every day. Some of them are very obscure. Some of them are based in like very particular, specific sexual fetishes that most people might not know. But we want to be as inclusive as possible. If you want to, for example, furry wasn't a word in the dictionary until a couple of, oh wow, you've got to keep the furries happy, right? And so it's been a learning experience for me, all kinds of different words that I thought I knew or didn't know. And like I said, it's a learning experience for a lot of people. People are learning kind of a lewd word a day.
This is awesome. We are chatting with Gary Whitta, celebrated screenwriter, author, and game designer. And it's his latest game that we have him on today to chat about called Lewdle. It's a not safe for work, if you will, take on the Wordle game phenomenon. And funny story, Gary, my wife Kelly has a bit of a trucker mouth, and someone sent her your game to play, Gary, not knowing that I knew the game designer. And we've been having a lot of fun with that. And so you said that you worked with a friend and indie game designer Adam Nickerson, but your wife Leah also worked on this, right?
Yeah, my wife Leah worked on it with us as well. We, generally when I cook up some kind of weird scheme, she, we find a way to kind of do it collaboratively together. And again, Leah's got she's got a very robust vocabulary as well, shall we say. So she ended up helping out with the dictionary side of things. And also interestingly, figuring out like some of the correctness of it. Like, for example, when we first started putting the dictionary together, we made a conscious decision not to have, and I won't say the words, but not to have words on there that are like misogynistic slur.
I saw you tweet something about that, and I commend you for that.
Yeah, it's simply lewdlegame.com. So that's LEWDLEGAME.com.
Awesome. Gary, congratulations.
Thank you.
There are literally hundreds of Wordle knockoffs. One of my favorites is a geography-based one called Worldle, which is a silhouette of a country and you have to guess what it is by process of elimination. Love to know what you're playing. If you're on social media, drop by and say hi. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. It's Mark Saltzman, MarkSaltzman. When we return, we're going to chat with Intel about business PCs. Stick with us.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Check it out. Hosted by Mark Saltzman.
You've heard me talk about the awesome Nexit navigation app because not only does it help you get from point A to B quickly, on the road or on foot, but it will only recommend stops along the way. But Nexit doesn't just save you time, it saves you money too. It will show you where the cheapest gas is. You can also specify how much you want to spend, say on a hotel, like $150 a night or less, and you can load up your loyalty cards right within the app to get rewards. Download Nexit today for free from the App Store for iPhone and iPad.
It's not just Brits preparing for Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee celebrations, according to new research from retail technology company Masys, with nearly half of Americans saying they have something planned to mark the occasion. So what are retailers doing to meet the demand, and what impact do these major moments of celebration have on the industry? Here's Jen Balin, Chief Revenue Officer, SAP Customer Experience.
Yes, consumer shopping has absolutely changed dramatically across the decades. And I will tell you that right now, celebrating from this side of the pond, as you mentioned, what we're seeing is that consumers want to purchase memorabilia like t-shirts, etc., but more importantly, products that support them having experiences and being brought together in order to celebrate those moments in life. So alcohol, cakes, teas, cookies, those are the things that retailers should be focused on today, in addition to those pieces of memorabilia, in order to support people getting back to celebrating life. So again, so excited to be celebrating this from this part of the world with you. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Tech It Out. A good number of listeners of this show work with computers, of course, and many are likely in an IT role as well. And so I always try to highlight some recommended technology to help you better get your work done. You, of course, know about Intel, probably powers the computer that you use personally, but we're now going to chat about professionally using Intel. We're going to get a primer on Intel vPro and Intel vPro Enterprise. We're joined by Eric Chong, Enterprise Client Technical Sales Specialist at Intel, who has more than 25 years of experience, by the way, in the IT space, and he's authored 2 books as well. Welcome to the show, Eric. Good to chat with you.
Great. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Sure. I'm excited about this topic because I don't know that much about vPro. Of course, I'm a big fan of Intel, so I'm looking forward to this. Now, before we talk about Intel vPro for business, Intel recently celebrated the 50th birthday of the first commercially produced computer chip. I think it was back in 1971. And, funny, the company is still innovating half a century later. Let's just remind everyone what the role of the processor is, or the CPU, and Intel's role in the industry.
Sure, Mark. The CPU is the brains behind the PC. Namely, it executes the instructions that make that PC run. Mm-hmm. Over the years, the scope has changed. So it included things such as integrated graphics in the CPU. And in 2007, Intel came out with the vPro branding, which included baseline components in the PC, not just the CPU itself.
Okay, so it's all connected. And when you're talking about integrated graphics, that's where typically you would need a separate graphics card to, render those images on screen for if you're a gamer or an animator or anything like that. But now a lot of that heavy lifting is done by Intel without needing a separate card, which is great. And I always say, when people say to me, Eric, and I'm sure you as well, hey, I'm buying a laptop. What should I look for? What brand should I, or what screen size? I always say you're missing one of the most important decisions, and that's the processor. That, as you said, the brains of the PC, or I call it the engine that drives the computer's performance.
You're absolutely correct.
All right. So let's now chat Intel vPro. At a high level, what's it all about?
Yeah, when I talk about vPro, I talk about it as a platform. Specifically, you need hardware ingredients to make up the vPro platform. In other words, you need the vPro-based CPU, vPro chipset, and the vPro networking. So basically, when you have all those components together, you'll see a sticker on the device that will say Core i5 or Core i7, and hopefully the words vPro right below it. That means that device is platformed. Now, when it's platformed, Intel has a mantra called vPro is built for business, meaning that it's the best technology for business.
All right. And thanks for bringing up the Core family, by the way. I always say that the Core i3, Core i5, Core i7 sticker that you may see, or badge that you may see on a laptop, is kind of like a good, better, best scenario. The higher the number, generally speaking, the higher the performance. There's also a Core i9 if you're a gamer, but we're talking specifically today about vPro. So when you see that little badge, that means it's been verified to be a powerful device for business's sake. With that in mind, what separates vPro from a regular, let's say, 12th gen Intel Core processor?
So there's four main pillars that vPro is predicated on: performance, stability, security, and manageability. So let me give you an example of how manageability is used in the real world. So one of the customers I cover is actually a school board, and it's in a very rural area. And as such, I believe, if I remember correctly, the schools at a minimum are 2 hours apart. And from end to end of this particular province, they're actually, I think, 8 hours away. And they have no IT staff at each school. So when they run into particular issues, they just can't send somebody there because it's a 2-hour drive to fix a 10-minute issue. So they use the active management technology to get into that particular PC, remediate it, no truck roll, and essentially you're saving 4 to 16 hours of just driving time to get to that particular PC. I'll give you another example. A lot of times, where people there's vPro around them, they don't even know it. So for example, a lot of digital signage has PCs behind the actual 50-inch display you'll see at a restaurant, for example. But how do you actually manage that PC? Something goes wrong with it. How do you reboot it? You can't just get a ladder and walk up to it and press that button. It's not very accessible. It can be even locked behind a kiosk somewhere. So with active management technology, again, you can get to those devices that aren't readily accessible. For security specifically, there's a lot of technology built in that you may not even know it's actually working on your behalf. So without sounding too technical, there is something called threat detection technology. And a lot of actual products, including Microsoft Defender, which comes with your actual operating system natively, actually utilizes this to detect threats against crypto mining and ransomware on the newest generation PCs.
Interesting. I'm going to ask you more about this active management technology in a moment. You also hinted at vPro Enterprise, a sister platform, if you will. But we are chatting with Eric Chong. He's Enterprise Client Technical Sales Specialist at Intel. We are learning about vPro, Intel vPro for Business, as well as Intel vPro Enterprise. So let's dive down a little bit more, if you can, in plain English, about the security-related features like Intel Hardware Shield.
Yeah, Intel Hardware Shield really is the overarching client security narrative beginning at the silicon level. So we have this in all core-based CPUs. There are, again, as I mentioned earlier, there are specific features only found on vPro platform devices. But the way Intel looks at Hardware Shield is 3 different layers, starting at the silicon. One is below the OS security, meaning that even before the operating system loads up, you're secure. The other layer is at the application OS layer, meaning that's what we normally use or see with the antivirus protections of days past, but there's a lot more now to it.
Because there's a lot more threats, yeah.
Absolutely. And at the higher level, we have something called advanced threat detection. So we can kind of predict things that are going to happen, such as ransomware, crypto mining. So those are the 3 basic layers of hardware shield: below the OS, at the application layer, at the very top, the advanced threat detection.
All right. Thanks for that. Yeah, I know it's like a stacked approach. We're going to chat more with Eric Chong, Enterprise Client Technical Sales Specialist at Intel, when we return and learn more about Intel vPro. Speaking of computers, a huge thank you to the title sponsor on this program, ASUS. That's ASUS.com. I know my friends are like, is it spelled ASIS? I'm like, nope, it's ASUS. Of course, they make some stellar laptops like VivoBooks, ZenBooks, ExpertBooks, StudioBooks, and Chromebooks. I produce this show on ZenBooks, in fact, and I'll be interviewing them next weekend for the show. So stick with us. More Tech It Out coming right up. Don't touch that dial.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out.
A good number of Tech It Out listeners work in IT, and so I invited onto the program Eric Chong, Enterprise Client Technical Sales Specialist at Intel, to teach us all about the Intel vPro platform, which powers these business-grade computers. So let's continue on. At the risk of getting too geeky here, Eric, what is Intel Active Management Technology all about? You did sort of touch on this already. Intel AMT.
Yeah, Intel Active Management technology has been around for 15 years, and it's obviously been progressively had more features built into it. But very high level, it's out-of-band management, which means that PC can be in any state, and you can remote into that machine, whether it's powering it on, remote controlling it. So if you think of the server side, you think of servers, they're in a data center usually, and how do you get to that server? And I'll use some industry terms, iDRAC, ILO. These are the mechanisms to get to that server from our various partners at Dell and HP, for example, that allow you to manage that machine. So think of that same kind of methodology, but on a client machine. And what this does, it allows for very fast problem remediation and even avoiding issues as well. So we talked about security just a few seconds ago. You can get higher patch saturation by remotely powering on these devices through the active management technology, because as we know, we can't patch a machine that's turned off. So we give you the ability, the IT folks, to power on that machine so that machine can be actually patched.
All right. So this means in plain English that someone remotely can access that device, even if it's powered off, in order to fix any issues or to upgrade it. If you need to upgrade the software or add new applications, that kind of thing. Is that right?
That's correct. And I'll add on one additional piece, not just anybody, but a trusted person.
Of course,
so what happens is that the machine has to be to a trusted person. So I just can't go in and start hacking away at your machine, Mark. It has to be provisioned in such a manner that it only trusts my particular, it's called a console. And the beautiful thing about this as well is that it can be done over the internet. For example, if you're working at a Starbucks and your machine's been what we call AMT activated or active management technology activated, I can do that same support even if you're working at a Starbucks.
Very cool. So what industries would you say, Eric, best benefit from Intel vPro? Any verticals, if you will? Is it like healthcare, fintech? What are some of these spaces that you're seeing this adoption of vPro and vPro Enterprise? Yeah,
historically, large enterprise and public sector buy vPro, but most recently, we've seen a large uptake in the small to medium business and the very small business as well buying vPro, primarily because of the security features and manageability features inherent in them.
And that's because of the pandemic, you'd say?
A lot of it, yes. A lot of customers, because people are working from home, how do you actually manage the machines? Traditionally on site, now they're off site. How do you get those machines with the same level of service on those devices now that they're out of your environment? And a lot of that can be achieved through active management technology.
All right. So again, it goes back to that AMT feature, which is part of Intel vPro. And before we wrap up, let's talk Intel vPro Enterprise. So obviously Enterprise are larger companies. So what would be different from the regular vPro platform?
Yeah, so the vPro branding begun in 2007. Now, recently with the 12th generation products, we call that vPro, I call it vPro Legacy now, is now known as vPro Enterprise. We've actually added additional tiers for vPro. So now with the 12th generation products, we now have vPro Essentials, which is geared towards the small to medium business. We've also added another tier called vPro Enterprise for Chrome, which is basically the vPro Enterprise you know and love, but now actually available on Chrome devices.
Chrome, of course, an increasingly popular operating system from Google, which is great. Is there a place that our listeners can go to for more on both of these platforms?
The simplest website is intel.com/vpro, VPRO.
All right, intel.com/vPro, VPRO, to learn more about Intel vPro and Intel vPro Enterprise. All right, Eric Chong has been our guest. Great to chat with you. Thank you for your time and your expertise, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to Tech It Out, everyone. I trust that you're having a great Memorial Day long weekend, whatever you're doing, and whoever you are choosing to spend your time with. I do appreciate you making Tech It Out a small part of it. You can always reach out with questions or comments, feedback on social media. I'll spell my name in a moment, but I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Let me know what you're up to this long weekend, what your favorite gadget is. If you have any tech support questions, I'm all ears. So it's Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. Also on social media, I read a tech tip of the day, just a little way to get more out of your gadgets in plain English, whether it's your iPhone or your smart TV or your tablet, what have you, often accompanied by a video, something that could just save you time or money or aggravation or all of the above. So I hope you like that. I'm up to like 300 and something, I believe. So there's lots that you can do a search for by doing a search for the hashtag tech tip of the day, no spaces, tech tip of the day or hashtag TTOTD. And that way you'll find all of my posts. Feel free to follow me on your favorite social platforms. Or if you prefer a private message, my website is marksaltzman.com. Again, Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z.com, and you'll find how you can send me a note that way. If you prefer that over social media, completely up to you. Once again, have a great rest of your long weekend, everyone. Stay safe out there. Have a fantastic beginning to June, and I look forward to catching up with you next weekend for a fresh new episode of Tech It Out. Be well. Ciao.